This study is not going like I had hoped, but I am forging on. I actually started it over, which is something that's probably a good idea to get comfortable with in watercolor. So just for these shapes, it's mixing on the paper swatches, laying down some water and on the whole shape, and then I'm going to bring in a little peacock blue. So it is going to jump around a little bit, move around, be active, wet and wet in the water. Not as much as some paints, though, it seems to me. But before I officially claim that, I would want to make it a little bit more. Bit more research. That was a good example of sort of trying to bring up a little bit of paint, trying to deal with one area, and if it's not thoroughly wet, you can't try to blend it, dry it by drying it up in one area without affecting the way the whole shape is going to dry as an entire shape. If one part of it is dry, then the paint will not move in that area. Just the peacock blue, and dab it in a bit. This is the backside of the first study, and I feel like I didn't have it taped to a board at all, and I feel like the paint is not, the paper is not quite accepting the paint like I would expect it to, and I'm wondering if part of that is because my fingers have been handling it so much as I was holding it on this side, the side now that I'm painting on. But that aside, I'm going to keep going here. A little bit of watery indigo. Yeah, when it sort of does that, we'll kind of go down in one area, but really not another. There's a little, it seems like there's a little repelling of the color going on. There's a great example right there. So my hunch is that that part was handled quite a bit by my fingers, and I'm trying to sort of scrub it a little bit to get it to move around consistently. That seems to be working. But the takeaway is try not to handle your paper if you don't need to. I was getting low on indigo, so I mixed up a little bit more. And as you can tell, I mixed up exactly the same color as that first swatch. that was a joke. It's a little darker. I happen to know this shape is going to get darker, so I'm not too worried. Over here, same thing going on. Looks like the mark of a big finger. Anyways, I'm going to see if, again, if I can kind of coax the paint to make friends with the paper here. Try to ignore any oils that are on there from my fingers. Okay, a little bit more indigo. Yeah, wow. Opportunity for learning. I should soak up that pooling paint on these shapes before they dry so much that they start getting a back run. Actually, maybe it's a good opportunity to let it sit there just to see what happens. Sure, I'm gonna let that this pooling water stay down there. You can tell I did the peacock blue and there's a lot of resistance going on there. But continue to use this as a learning opportunity. Let me see, I'm going to mix a little bit of the indigo and peacock blue. And at the lighter watery mixes and lighter values, it's harder to judge the difference in the actual color. But I'm still a proponent of testing out colors in a way that's building up instead of, I see a lot of color swatches studies on YouTube and whatnot, basically trying to paint on a really pretty juicy mix of something first and then continually adding water, which is another lovely way to learn about watercolor, don't get me wrong, but adding water to a little bit of water and then making a swatch of that, and then adding a little bit more water and making a swatch of that. And so you do get a sense of what that paint might be able to accomplish. That wasn't a very good mix. That was a little too much blue. Grabbing some indigo that's all around here. Is that better? So that will give you an idea of what any particular paint can do, but I feel like it's really not capitalizing on the the potential for each of these paints when you layer them in a fashion where they can get so nice and so intense and so saturated color. These are still dry. That is gonna be interesting to see. Like I say, if like I think I have said, ooh, that's a good example of another resisting spot. Finger oil, probably spot. The 300 paper is much more, 300 pound is much more forgiving than 140 pound when it comes to situations like this. And in fact, I think, yeah, it is fun. And it's a great way to think about it. So I can already tell there's sort of a line forming up here. And it's sort of like the dry part of the paper is going, okay, we'll take a little bit more of the water, and then finally the dry paper says, nope, not going to take any more. Can't come any further. And this part is getting soaked up, and it's pulling it farther up, and it's saying, but we have to. No, yes, no, yes. Oh, sorry, I'm not doing that. Habit. I'm going to let it dry because I'm sure this is not stunning video. Actually, no, I won't. I'll see if, no, that's not dry either. Okay, I am going to let it dry. Back in a flash.